Coming up on the show, a major supermarket chain's secret shopper profiles may be influencing your grocery bills. We're going to talk about that coming up, plus how gentrification is hitting hard in some metro Atlanta neighborhoods. This is The Take. Let's go. Hello and welcome. I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines and we look at the why and how stories are impacting you and your community. We invite the experts in to share their take and expertise on the today's top stories, and we also try to have a little bit of fun as we go. So we're going to start off today with a recent Consumer Reports investigation that has revealed that Kroger is collecting extensive data on its shoppers through its loyalty program, potentially leading to unfair pricing practices. Joining us now, back on the show, Derek Kravitz, an investigative reporter for the Consumer Reports Report. And Derek, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Talk to us about this loyalty program. What is it, first of all?
Sure. Loyalty programs are everywhere, and Kroger, like many grocery stores, has a loyalty program for those that want to sign up. It's free. You put in your name, phone number, address, and you get discounts on various grocery items and products. Not that surprising, not that dissimilar to any other program, except that when Kroger does it, they collect a lot of data about you when you shop. So everything you buy, they put it into a dossier, a profile of you. That goes into a system where they infer a bunch of information about you. How much money you make, your education level, if you're interested in a new or used car, if you're interested in a cruise, various things to sort of market or advertise other products to you. There's nothing illegal or wrong with that, but some people just don't know this information is being collected about them, so they're surprised to know that it's out there, and when they get their profiles, they're surprised to see that they've made all these guesses about who they are.
So all that based on just the food I buy. So my strawberry purchase, my milk purchase, eggs, whatever, they kind of base it, he's has this kind of education level, he's this, that, and the third. How inaccurate are these profiles?
Well, so that's the thing. When you're just basing everything off of what you're shopping for, even if it's a lot of information over years, you're buying stuff for your kids or your spouse or significant other or anyone else, all that information gets mixed up, and it's hard sometimes to guess how if that person is buying premium brands because they want to or because they're buying it for someone else or what have you. And so really a lot of it's inaccurate. So when we got a bunch of reports for a bunch of different people through Oregon's new privacy law, we found that a lot of the information was just wrong. The income was way off, education level, they said high school or college, and it wasn't. In other cases, we found that it was right, but it was just a really big guess as to whether they have a dog or a cat at home, or whether they're really interested in domestic or international travel. The people say if I had been asked this, I would have probably given them a good number, but they didn't, and so it's a little bit disconcerting for folks.
What kind of risk does this pose to your purchasing power, or when it comes to pricing and promotional items?
So there's an issue when it comes to price discrimination. So the problem here is that a lot of pricing at grocery stores is driven through discounts and loyalty programs, increasingly so, especially for items that are Kroger brand or in-house, right? So if you're giving discount or offers to a specific group of people that they deem to be especially loyal, super shoppers, and not to everyone else, that creates an unfair price balance there, right? Price discrimination. And so that's the issue. And folks that we spoke to say, hey, I signed up to this, it'd be great to know if I'm in the special cohort or if I'm in the unspecial cohort. And if I don't get the great deals, I might not shop there as much, right? I would like to know which group I'm in.
That's absolutely right. Now, has Kroger been a little bit transparent with their customers, letting them see their profiles and having a chance to correct it or make it right?
No, only a few states in the country allow people to go ahead and request their individual shopper profiles or back-end data that companies collect about them. Oregon is one, Delaware is another, California has a lot to some degree, Georgia, from what we can tell, does not have that. So not everyone can see what companies collect about them. But increasingly, more and more states are putting laws in the books that allow for that.
You mentioned that, there's other, loyalty programs are popping up everywhere and just about for everything. Is Kroger the only one doing this type of program, or are there others out there?
Many others. I mean, a lot of retailers use a lot of sophisticated data to market or sell stuff to you, right? Kroger is just unique because they're probably the most technologically savvy and sophisticated of any grocery chain in the United States, and they have a heavy presence there in Georgia and in Metro Atlanta. But many other retailers, especially those dealing with clothes or shoes or things like that, really collect a lot of data about you. They marry it with other data they find online, and they create these super detailed profiles about you. And that can be problematic and disconcerting.
You mentioned that it's nothing illegal about what they're doing, but does a consumer have any kind of rights, I guess, to fight back or make sure that their profiles are right so they're not discriminated against?
That's a good point. Yes, you do. Nearly every state allows you to, at the very least, be able to access some of the information they collect about you, like your name and address and phone number and all of that. And once you see that, you are allowed to either correct it or delete it or opt out. Opt out meaning that you don't have any more information collected about you going forward. Georgia is one of those states. Many other states have that ability. You just have to go through their privacy portal for that particular retailer or merchant.
Gotcha. All right. Derek Kravitz, really appreciate your insight, man. I didn't know that they were collecting all this data. Now I do. You're making us smarter, my friend. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right. Let's take a look at our forecast for today. We're going to make you smarter weather-wise as well. We're going to start you off, or at least starting off with sunshine, but the clouds will increase as we head toward mid-morning and into the afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms. We're not expecting widespread severe weather to be around at all, but it will be a nuisance for you trying to get out and about. Got a ball game in town tonight, right? Braves taking on the D-backs, trying to get some revenge. You're going out to the ballpark tonight. Make sure you check the forecast, folks. There will be scattered showers and thunderstorms around at least until 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. We're going to hold on to the unsettled weather for the rest of the week and into the weekend. It's only a 20% chance on Thursday. 84 degrees will be the high temperature. A lot of us won't see it, but Friday night going into Saturday, that's when we could expect to see maybe some strong to severe thunderstorms. If they hold together coming out of Alabama into our state, we could see that. Saturday, Sunday, afternoon scattered showers will continue. In fact, it continues as we head into the work week next week as well. Temperatures will remain in the low 80s for next week, but with the humidity that's going to be around, it's going to feel a lot warmer. Hey, don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be right back with more stories. Stay right there. All right, welcome back to the show. President Donald Trump is facing pushback on his spending bill from a former White House special employee. We're talking about billionaire Elon Musk. Joining us now is NBC's Chris Pallone from Washington, D.C. And Chris, break down this relationship. They were once very close, but now seem to be a little bit more far apart.
Yeah, Chesley, it was just a few days ago that President Trump gave Elon Musk a grand send-off in the Oval Office after leading the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, for the past several months as a special government employee. And now Elon Musk is blasting this so-called big, beautiful bill, a bill of spending priorities and also tax cuts. The White House seems to be brushing it off. Yesterday, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, basically said we know his position on this. And the president seems to be taking more aim at senators who seem to be opposing it at this point.
Does Elon Musk still have like some leeway with with some of the elected officials there, being as though he served under President Trump?
We're certainly going to see. You might remember before President Trump even took office, Musk tweeted about 100 times about a bill that would avert a government shutdown back in December. And for at least a day or so, it did change the trajectory of how that vote went, where the House Speaker Mike Johnson had to scramble to get some members on board. We'll see if now that he's outside the government officially, that whether he has the pull. It seemed yesterday that even Senate Republican leaders seem to be brushing off this criticism, saying that Musk doesn't understand the intricacies involved and many of the Republican leaders say that they don't trust the analysis by the Congressional Budget Office that are leading to some of the problems that not only Musk, but some of the hardline Republican budget hawks have with this bill.
Gotcha. Let's get back to the president's big, beautiful bill. What are the sticking points among the Senate Republicans that could force changes to the spending bill before it even hits the floor?
It seems to be a couple of things. First of all, the budget hawks in the Republican side seem to have a problem with the projections that indicate that this bill, as written, could add more than $1 trillion to the budget deficit. If you're a budget hawk and you believe in smaller government and less spending, adding to the budget deficit is a big problem. And so we've seen senators like Thomas Massie, like Rand Paul, having problems with this bill, saying they wouldn't be able to vote for it the way it is. The other sticking point, Rand Paul said he would be willing to vote for it if it removed the provision that would increase the debt limit. You remember we go through this dance every few months where Congress has to raise the debt ceiling, and it's always one of those things that pushes the government's economy and credit rating to the brink as the government has to go back and agree to spend the money that it approved in spending. And so Senator Paul has said that if that were taken out and it was dealt with separately, he might be able to vote for the bill. So it seems like those two things.
Gotcha. Chris, do you have any insight on the Republican strategy here? Is it to just pass the bill fast or to negotiate pieces and pieces with the president?
It's a lot of moving parts, honestly, because this bill passed the House. It's now in the Senate. Senators, Republican senators, want different priorities than the House members do. And so if they change any aspect of it, it's going to have to go back to the House. And so, if they reach a deal in the Senate, it could blow it up in the House again. So members of the Finance Committee in the Senate, Republican members, are going to the White House today to talk to the president about his priorities, to see where it goes. Their timeline, according to the Senate Republican leadership, is they want to see this brought to the Senate floor for a vote by the end of this month, by the end of June, so that it could be on the president's desk by the 4th of July.
Gotcha. All right, Chris Ballone in Washington, D.C., thanks so much for your insight. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Sure.
All right. Don't go anywhere, folks. Plenty of stories. This is The Take on 11Alive Plus, and we're back right after this. One of Atlanta's most historic neighborhoods is undergoing a dramatic shift. While Old Fourth Ward was once a majority black community, a new report reveals that that's no longer the case. 11Alive's Jonathan Martin joins us now with a closer look at it with his series Affording Atlanta. And Jonathan, a new report highlighting Atlanta, Old Fourth Ward in particular. Why is that the case?
Yeah, this is a new 50-year study on gentrification, Chesley, and they highlighted Old Fourth Ward in particular because they consider this really a poster child, if you will, for gentrification. This was once an overlooked community here in Atlanta, mainly black community, the birthplace of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In fact, Boulevard, right there in the middle of Old Fourth Ward, used to be considered the Negro Street because so many black people live there. But if you go to Old Fourth Ward now, you will notice a lot of trendy shops, a lot of high-rise apartment buildings, of course the Beltline, and a dramatic racial shift. It is no longer a majority black community, so certainly, as these researchers say, a poster child for what gentrification can do, really shift the dynamics in a community.
When did this shift actually start taking place, Jonathan?
Yeah, well, it happened, they say, in waves. Gentrification isn't something that happens overnight, so the researchers say it started back in the 90s when Atlanta was preparing for the 96 Olympic Games, and then another wave, they say, really in the 2000s with the addition of the Beltline. So it happened over time, but it certainly has changed the makeup of the community.
City leaders have been talking about this, trying to look at growth for the city, but without displacing long-term residents there. What are some of the solutions? Do they have any?
Well, one of the big solutions, of course, we talk about it here on 11Alive a lot, is affordable housing. In fact, just yesterday, Mayor Andre Dickens announced a new affordable housing community right there in Old Fourth Ward. And there are different programs that are out there, Chesley, right now to help some legacy residents stay in their homes, help some legacy businesses stay put. But really, it is a challenge because, right, we all want growth, we want revitalization, but how do you do that without displacing a lot of these residents who really started in these communities and really made them what they are?
Some people out there might not know what gentrification is. Can you break that down for us real quickly here?
Yeah, it really is the changing of a community through largely development. It can happen in different ways. It can happen when someone comes in personally and really develops their home, and also it can come in through development. development. And in this case, what we saw in Old Fourth Ward was more of a developer-led gentrification. And I want to give you a quick fact. In 2000, get this, Chesley, the average median income in Old Fourth Ward was $30,000. But guess what it is today? More than $220,000. So that shows you the shift. $30,000 20 years ago, and now it's up to $220,000. So a big shift in not only economics, but demographics as well. And this is what we found, Chesley, in this study, not just in Old Fourth Ward, but the loss of black residents in particular in 16 different census tracts here in Atlanta. And Atlanta, as we know, is known as the Black Mecca, so a lot of people are seeing this racial shift and saying, is this really the case in some of these communities?
Well, Jonathan, do we know where the folks that are being priced out, do we know where they're going?
Well, some of them are moving out to some of the suburbs, different areas. There's not really one community, but a lot of people are being pushed out further away from the city. And that's why affordable housing is so important, because many people do want to stay in these neighborhoods. Some of the other neighborhoods where we've seen people displaced, Mechanicsville, Pittsburgh, some of these longtime black communities that are now no longer black, according to this gentrification study. And by the way, we have that full report for you on 11alive.com, so you can see specific neighborhoods if you want to look at the changes where you live.
Wow, yeah, this is a big time shift. I mean, as you had mentioned, for a long time, Atlanta being known as a black city or majority African American city, and now being shifted around here a little bit. Do you know of any other neighborhoods that have stayed that way so far?
Well, there are a lot of them that have changed that we focus on in the report. And like I said, you can go to this map. This gentrification study has a map where you can literally zero in on your specific neighborhood. Old Fourth Ward, of course, the one we highlighted in our report. And we talked to neighbors in Old Fourth Ward. We talked to a filmmaker who grew up here in Atlanta. He talks about some of the specific changes. And again, it's not all bad. People say, look, we like the changes. We like everything that's happening, but we just don't want to displace those people who really are at the heart and soul of building up these communities.
Wow. Jonathan, thanks so much for that report. Really appreciate it. And you can check Jonathan's report out, the full story, tonight at 11 right here on 11Alive Plus, Affording Atlanta. Man. All right, we'll have a new Affording Atlanta special available right here on 11Alive Plus. Jonathan digs into how Atlantans are still afloat from built to rent housing to life without a car, protecting your family wealth. You can find it on our home screen on 11Alive Plus right here. All right, we're back with my final take right after this. You're watching The Plus. That's what I like to call it, The Plus. We're back. All right, welcome back to the show. From bargain bins to bottom lines, Dollar General's latest earnings report raising some eyebrows. That's why we bring in CNN's Mary Bell Aber, who is live for us from the NASDAQ marketplace in New York City. And Mary Bell, tell us, break down Dollar General's, what they're doing to shake off fears, tariff fears.
Good morning, Chesley. Well, here again, yes, another sign of people looking to stretch their budgets, this time from Dollar General. As you mentioned, the retailer says it's now seeing more middle and upper income shoppers in its stores as consumers in general are hunting for value. And Dollar General says those higher income customers, they're visiting its stores more frequently and they're spending more when they shop. And the trend comes as Dollar General's core customer base continues to experience a strain on their finances. A quarter of the chain's customers say they have less income today than they did a year ago. And nearly 60% of Dollar General's core customer base say they feel the need to sacrifice on necessities in the coming year. This is a chain whose sales mostly come from shoppers on tight budgets. And about 60% of Dollar General's sales come from households with an annual income of less than $30,000 per year. That's what an executive at the retailer said last fall at an industry conference. You know, Chesley, value is always a driver of America's household budget. But now, given the economic uncertainty we're facing, you know, everyone's treasuring that dollar as much as possible.
Wow. We're also learning that many Americans are catching up on their savings, but are still falling short.
Well, Americans are stashing away a record amount in retirement savings. The average savings rate for a 401k plan hit a record high, 14.3% of income in the first quarter. This is according to Fidelity Investments, which is the nation's largest 401k administrator. It's got about 25,000 companies. The rate is right near that high end of the 12 to 15% that financial advisors recommend people save annually for retirement. It's also up from the 13.5% average saved in 401k plans just 5 years ago. As for how different age groups are saving, at Fidelity, baby boomers socked away 17.2% on average, Gen X saved 15.4%, millennials 13.5%, and it's been about 5 decades since employers began using 401k retirement plans. Today, roughly 70% of the private sector workforce has access to one. Chesley, the best advice I ever received from my dad early on, when it comes to 401k, if you're fortunate enough to work for a company that matches, contribute at least to their max match. Never leave money on the table.
That's right. That's absolutely right. All right, finally, Maribel, we're looking at, I understand you're monitoring a string of recent cyber attacks targeting some high-end retailers.
North Face and Cartier have told customers in recent days that their names and email addresses had been stolen. Late last week, Victoria's Secret had shut down its website for 3 days due to hacking. North Face said hackers use addresses, usernames, and passwords stolen from another source to gain access to user accounts. It's an attack known as credential stuffing. That's where hackers use account authentication credentials stolen elsewhere. And it can occur when people use the same passwords on multiple websites. As for the Cartier incident, it said some customer information might have been stolen, but no passwords, credit card details, or banking information was affected. Chesley, immediate steps you can take: change your password, especially for accounts associated with the retailer. Any accounts using that same password, don't use 123. Chesley.
That's absolutely right, but it's easy to remember. You start getting up there in age and you forget that password,
I do. Get the app.
Chesley 123. Not use. Don't use it, right?
No.
Gotcha. Maribel, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks for that information. Wonderful information right there. All right, folks, let's take a look at that forecast once again here. And we are anticipating scattered showers and some thunderstorms pushing into our forecast area. Those thunderstorms could drop some brief heavy rain. Some frequent lightning could be around as well. So be on the lookout. That could be a nuisance for us. Not expecting much in the way of severe weather, but it could be nuisance rain. 20% chance on Thursday, 40% chance once we get to Friday, and that'll be mainly during the evening. I think much of the day we will experience the sunshine, which will help to boost that temperature up to 88 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will continue in the afternoon on Saturday. We'll do it again on Sunday as well. And you notice we remain unsettled even as we head into next week. And so, yeah, keep the umbrella handy. Starting this afternoon, right on through the rest of the week and into the weekend, we're going to have those raindrops around. You notice that the temperatures will remain in the 80s as well. It's that time of year, folks. Yep, the muggies will start to creep in. More of that humidity starts to get in here. So even though we'll have, for example, a high temperature on Sunday at 84 degrees, it's probably going to feel a lot warmer than that, especially as we start the work week. Only a 30% chance for the rain on Monday, 85 for the high, but it'll probably feel like the upper 80s out there, 86 on Tuesday, with a 50% chance for that rain to be around, and 86 for the high. Will probably feel like it's closer to 90 degrees. Yep, the muggies are coming our way. All right, time for my final take, and come on, sing along with me. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and just, you know that song, right? Yeah, that song is by British pop star Rick Astley, and people sing that song everywhere you go. It seems to be the song that never goes away. Never Gonna Give You Up came back out in 1987 and peaked on the Billboard Hot 100 for 2 weeks. Now, normally you say a song, it peaks on the top 100 and then it goes away, right? Not this song. Not this one. No, in the 2000s, the song got a revival from an internet prank called the Rick rolling. Yeah, it's when people were sent a hyperlink and it was disguised. His video would pop up if you clicked on it and they would say, "You've been Rick rolled." That earned him 1.6 billion views on YouTube. Now you may think, well, that's it. Nope. Spotify just announced this week that Rick Ashley's song made it to the Billionaire Club, the Billion Club, exceeding 1 billion streams on its Spotify platform. Wow. So even in the digital age, it seems that this song will never go away. What makes it last so long? Why do people love this song so much? I know my producer loves it as well. Well, it just goes to show you that people, all you need is just one hit and you will be immortal. You'll live forever. I'm gonna try to come up with a hit, but that's a pretty good one. Hey, make it a great day, folks. Try to encourage someone. Sing to them. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.